Yo, I wanted to ask you about a couple of DMX records too. Shit, you won't get at me, dog. Do you remember when y'all recorded that? Yeah, okay. Well, that was a new studio right there. When I got in, I get at it. I went down there. They called me. Urban called me, said, "Yo, I need you to write this up." I was like, "Yo, call Never Box." Because they was out. You remember the box? She is the only one who better go. Do it as a call. Then I got the hook over the freestyle. If you remember the freestyle, let's just get out of it. I said, "Yo, get out, dog. Get out, dog."
All right. Shalom, Israel. You live with the Israelite School of UPK. Priest and Captain Soccer will hold down the class live from Memphis, Tennessee. Every Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday, we have classes here in Memphis from 6 to 8 p.m. Central Standard Time. Since 1969, the Israelite School of UPK has been teaching so-called blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indians the truth according to the Bible. What is the truth? The truth is that so-called blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indians descend from the greatest people that have ever walked the face of the earth. The Bible identifies us as the lost 12 tribes of the nation of Israel in the year 2023. There is nothing more important than for so-called blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indians to learn the truth of who they are, where they come from, and what their purpose is here on the earth. What we like to do with these classes is give brothers and sisters the opportunity to go into this book called the Bible to gain the knowledge, wisdom, and understanding that is contained therein in order to facilitate us coming back to being the people that the Most High called us to be, man. And reclaim our rightful place on the earth as kings, priests, princes, princesses, and daughters of Zion. Tonight is a very special night, man, in the nation of Israel. It is the first night of the celebration of HaChaaNaKaH. Growing up in the world, you may have heard of Hanukkah, which is a bastardized, it's the English pronunciation of HaChaaNaKaH. But the story that you may have been told or what you may have heard about HaChaaNaKaH growing up in the world has nothing to do with the actual biblical celebration that we keep here in the Israelite School of Universal Practical Knowledge. I don't know what the story of Hanukkah is in the world. I don't know what the Jewish man believes. I know growing up around some Jewish kids, they used to play this game with some little thing they called a dreidel. I know their candlestick had 9 branches on it, when the one of the Jews had only 7, as you see here displayed in the school. I know they said that the story that the Jewish man tells is there was a night where there was, they tried to keep the candlestick lit and there wasn't no oil, and it was a miracle that, the oil that was lit for one night of the lamp lasted 8 nights. So they was able to take the oil from one lamp and put it in another 7. Some garbage story was told to us as children growing up concerning what Hanukkah was. You know what I'm saying? And whatever they tell in the Jewish religion about Hanukkah has nothing to do with the biblical celebration of HaChaaNaKaH, which is what we're keeping here tonight. HaChaaNaKaH is a celebration of the rededication of Solomon's temple back to the Most High after the children of Israel were able to regain control of the temple from the Greeks during the time of the Greek occupation of Jerusalem and Israel during the years roughly, I want to say 300 AD. I mean 300 BC, 300 250 BC. It's a celebration that lasts a space of 8 days, and over the 8 days, we supposed to feast and celebrate and decorate. The temples and all the IHPK schools around the country. The Feast of HaChaaNaKaH is one of the thing. One of the things that we like to do. You want to try to clean up the school, redecorate it, add new decorations, things like that. You know what I'm saying? You see here, Sister Kapatazar recently purchased these two lion heads for the school. You know what I'm saying? So she did her thing hooking this up. You know what I'm saying? But the rededication, man, is a time for us to really celebrate and remember all of the wonderful things the Most High has done for us. I'm gonna be teaching several classes over the next few nights as we celebrate HaChaaNaKaH. With tonight's class, I just wanted to do an introductory breakdown, giving you a little bit of background information and history on what led up to Israel having to take back the temple. All right. So it's not going to be a full breakdown, not going to be a long breakdown, but I did want to provide some historical context for brothers and sisters to understand the condition that Israel was in prior to what is known in history as the Maccabees Revolution. The Maccabees Revolution is what led to us recapturing Jerusalem, being able to rededicate the temple. But prior to that time, there were other events that transpired that led to the conditions that we were in prior to the rise of the Maccabees Revolution. So that's what tonight's class is going to be about. I see Trooper Anj has a question. Says, Salakia, sir, what's the thing about it being two Sabbaths during this holy day? Okay, Anj, I don't the HaChaaNaKaH lasts for 8 days. So the first day is a day of rest, and the last day is a day of rest. All right, that's the thing about it in terms of there being two Sabbaths. It's because they're 7 days apart. There's the first day is a Sabbath, and then the last day is a Sabbath as well. All right. Let me know if that's what you were talking about, Ash. If that answers your question. All right. Let me see. I'm gonna go ahead and pull up the scriptures on it. Um, and really, what I want to do to go into this, we're gonna go into the book of Ezra, right? Talk about the first time that Israel had to dedicate the house of the Lord back to the Most High. All right. Um, bear with me, y'all. Well, matter of fact, I'm gonna go ahead and get the history. I'm gonna give you some more history on it. So, oh wait, okay, boom, boom, boom. All right, Hanukkah, boom, boom. Where's the search button? Let's go ahead and search going on. Boom. Okay. All right. Let's get Numbers chapter 7. All right, Numbers chapter 7. All right, hold on. All right, boom. This is good. This is exactly what we need right here. Okay. So we're gonna go into some history of temples being dedicated to the Most High, right? Hanukkah is a celebration of the rededication of Solomon's temple back to the Most High. But prior to the Maccabees revolution and us recapturing Jerusalem and Israel, there had been several dedication celebrations, right? So Hanukkah is the one that we remember now because of the conditions in which we were able to celebrate it. But the Maccabees held this celebration of Hanukkah because it mirrored the original celebration of the temple being dedicated to the Most High, which is what we're about to read now. All right, so I'm gonna give you some history on dedication ceremonies when Israel got to gather together to celebrate something that the Lord allowed us to build or allowed us to accomplish, and showing that there was a history of this being a celebration that was kept in Israel. All right, so we're keeping Hanukkah today to remember the rededication of Solomon's temple during the days of the Maccabees revolution. But prior to the Maccabees revolution, there had been several dedication ceremonies and celebrations that were kept in Israel because of in reference to the original building and ordaining of Solomon's temple. All right, so that's what we're gonna get into right now. We're gonna go to Numbers chapter 7. All right, I'm going to Numbers chapter 7. Hold up. Hold up. We're going to start in Numbers chapter 7, verse 1. We're going to read down to verse 4. Then we're going to drop all the way down to verse 84. All right. Matter of fact, yeah, we're gonna start at Numbers chapter 7, verse 1. All right. So Number 7 and 1 says, and it came to pass on the day that Moses had fully set up the tabernacle and had anointed it and sanctified it, and all the instruments thereof, both the altar and all the vessels thereof, and had anointed them and sanctified them, that the princes of Israel, heads of the house of their tribe of their fathers, who were the princes of the tribes, and were over them that were numbered, offered. And they brought their offering before the Lord, 6 covered wagons and 12 oxen, a wagon for 2 of the princes, and for each one an ox. And they brought them before the tabernacle. And the Lord spake unto Moses, saying, take it of them, that they may be to do the service of the tabernacle of the congregation. And thou shalt give them unto the Levites, to every man according to his service. All right. So during this initial dedication of the tabernacle, what was the tabernacle? A little tent, a little house that was builded for the priests of the Lord to do service to the Most High. Everybody understands. During the days of Moses, here in the book of Numbers, where are the children of Israel? We're in the wilderness. We've come out of Egypt. We're in the wilderness, and we're going about to establish a culture and customs for ourselves. We're building ourselves as a nation. You understand? In any nation, what makes you separate from other people is your culture. And Moses, in establishing a culture for the children of Israel, built a tent, a special tent, a special tabernacle that would be reserved for the children of Israel, for them to be able to house all of the things that pertain to the Lord, and where the priests would be able to go and do service to the Most High. Everybody understands? Bear with me right quick. Hold up. Bear with me. Bear with me. My bad. Hold on. Hold up. All right. Um. So Salakia in Numbers 7, 1 through 5 describes Moses setting up the tabernacle and then having a celebration. And part of the celebration was the princes or the men of high esteem in Israel gathered together the resources of the people and brought a sacrifice to the priests. Part of all of the celebrations of Israel was one of the aspects of our culture is anytime we're going to celebrate before the Lord or do something for the Most High, the people bring an offering. Offerings are shared among the people and the priests. So as you read here in Numbers chapter 7, where it said they brought their offerings before the Lord, 6 covered wagons and 12 oxen. These wagons were brought and these oxen were brought to be sacrificed, killed by the priests in the name of the Most High, so that the meat would be cut up and put on altars and burned by fire. The meat that's burned by fire on the altar, once it's cooked, it gets divided between the priest and the people. Everybody understands? So these holidays, these celebrations, these high holy days that Israel always kept, the method by which we were able to celebrate and have things to celebrate, or food to feast, was that the people brought it. It's the same way today. When we had these celebrations, we had these feasts, brothers and sisters come together, they cook, they bring food, they bring drinks, and we break bread amongst one another. Everybody understands. So that's what took place during the dedication of the tabernacle that Moses built for the children of Israel to the Most High while we were in the wilderness. Drop down. This is Numbers chapter 7, verse 84. All right. It says, this was the dedication of the altar in the day when it was anointed by the princes of Israel. 12 charges of silver, 1 charge of silver for each of the 12 tribes. 12 silver bowls, 12 spoons of gold. You understand? Each charger of silver weighing 130 shekels, each bowl 70. All the silver vessels weighed 2,400 shekels after the shekel of the sanctuary. The golden spoons were 12, full of incense, weighing 10 shekels apiece after the shekel of the sanctuary. All the gold of the spoons was 120 shekels. Verse 87, all the oxen for the burnt offering were 12 bullocks, The rams 12, the lambs of the first year 12, and their meat offering, and the kids of the goats for sin offering 12. Verse 88, and all the oxen for the sacrifice of the peace offerings were 20 and 4 bullocks. The rams 60, the he goats 60, the lambs of the first year 60. This was the dedication of the altar. After that, it was anointed. Verse 89, and when Moses was gone into the tabernacle of the congregation to speak with him, then he heard the voice of one speaking unto him from off the mercy seat that was upon the ark of testimony. From between the two cherubims he spake unto him. So once the tabernacle was dedicated, and they had this feast and had this celebration, when Moses stepped into the tabernacle, the Most High began to speak to him from off the throne seat that was builded on the Ark of the Covenant. Prior to that, the Most High spoke to Moses in Moses' mind. Moses heard the voice of the Lord speaking to him in his head. But once he built this tabernacle and once he dedicated it and did all the sacrifices to the Lord now came to speak to Moses inside of that tabernacle. And from this day forward, the high priests were the only ones that were allowed to enter into that tent, into that tabernacle, to perform sin offerings and to perform sacrifices and to talk to the Most High. Everybody understands. And when I say talk to the Most High, of course, it's the voice of an angel that speaks to man on behalf of the Most High. The Most High doesn't talk to anybody. Everybody understands. But that throne on the Ark of the Covenant inside the tabernacle was where the Lord dealt with the priests of Israel. And after this day, Israel went on through the wilderness. We went into the promised land. They always kept that tabernacle. They always kept that tent that was set up for the priest to do service, to speak to the Most High. And it always remained a holy, special place. Then you go forward into our time as a nation. And once we built ourselves up and we got out of the wilderness, then what came to pass? We built a temple. Solomon built the temple to the Most High. And when Solomon built the temple to the Most High, Solomon kept the same tradition that was established with Moses in the wilderness. And Solomon had a dedication of the temple that he built for the Most High. Everybody understands? Let's get 2 Chronicles chapter 7. All right. All right. Okay, we're gonna read the whole book of 2 Chronicles, the 7th chapter. All right. This is all about the dedication of Solomon's temple to the Most High. All right. Again, this is just to establish for everybody that dedicating something the Most High gave us the ability and the power and the blessing to build has always been an Israelite custom. It didn't just start with HaChaaNaKaH. HaChaaNaKaH was done in service of the history of dedication in the name of the Most High for something great that He had allowed us to be able to build or allowed us to accomplish. And the Feast of HaChaaNaKaH is no different. Everybody understands. This is 2 Chronicles chapter 7. And we'll read about Solomon dedicating the temple to the Most High. Again, over these next 8 days, I'm going to teach several classes going into several aspects of this celebration. Tonight is just to give you the history and the backdrop of what was going on preceding HaChaaNaKaH that made it such a major thing for us to celebrate during the time of the Maccabees. All right, so that's what tonight is about. 2 Chronicles chapter 7, verse 1. Again, this is about the dedicating of Solomon's temple to the Most High. Now, when Solomon had made an end of praying, the fire came down from heaven and consumed the burnt offering and the sacrifices, and the glory of the Lord filled the house. So they got the temple, right? They set up. Outside of the doors of the temple, there was an altar set up for sacrifices to be made. Solomon made a prayer to the Most High to bless the temple, to bless this place. And at the end of that that praying, fire came down from heaven and burnt the offering, burnt the altar. The altar wasn't lit by some flame or the priest lighting a fire underneath of it. The Most High showing Israel that He was with them in this time sent fire out of heaven to come down and to light the altar that held the sacrifices that were being given to the Most High. Everybody understands? Keep reading. 2 Chronicles 7:2. And the priest could not enter into the house of the Lord because the glory of the Lord had filled the Lord's house. And when all the children of Israel saw how the fire came down and the glory of the Lord upon the house, they bowed themselves with their faces to the ground upon the pavement and worshiped and praised the Lord, saying, for he is good, for his mercy endures forever. This was an amazing thing for us as a people, as a nation. And there have been times before when we came together as a nation and we were on one accord. The Lord did amazing things to let it be known, I am with you. You understand? And in my time being in the truth, I have experienced those moments where the Lord does something amazing in the earth. And it's to let us know that I am with you. You understand? Lord, allow we continue to stand strong and build this nation up. We again are going to experience those moments that are public for everyone to see. That is an acknowledgement from the Most High that I am with you. Everybody understands. And when the people saw that, they all bowed themselves in humility and in amazing grace and favor of the Lord to say, man, this thing is real. The God of heaven and the earth and the universe sent us a sign that he's with us. The fire lit the altar, and then the glory of the Lord lit the house, lit the temple. So imagine you standing outside, you just see bright light inside of this building that you haven't gone into. Nobody's in there yet, but you just see bright lights shining from inside of the temple. There was a sign to everybody that the Lord is with us. Everybody understands? Keep reading. Verse 8. Then the king and all the people offered sacrifices before the Lord. And King Solomon offered a sacrifice of 22,000 oxen and 120,000 sheep. So the king and all the people dedicated the house of God. And the priests waited on their offices, the Levites also with instruments of music of the Lord, which David the king had made to praise the Lord, because his mercy endures forever. When David praised by their ministry, and the priests sounded trumpets before them, and all Israel stood. Moreover, Solomon hallowed the middle of the court that was before the house of the Lord. For there he offered burnt offerings and the fat of the peace offerings, because the brazen altar which Solomon had made was not able to receive the burnt offerings and the meat offerings and the fat. Meaning what? The brazen altar that was made wasn't as big as this altar in the outer court that was made to cook all these thousands of sacrifices. Everybody understands? Again, the feast that we have comes from the people bringing these sacrifices. The sacrifices, the animals are killed, they're skinned, the meat is seasoned and thrown on an altar. That burning of that meat is what sends the smoke up and provides a sweet savor to the Lord. To make it plain for you to understand, it's like a giant barbecue. It's not a giant, it's you don't want to diminish it by saying it's a barbecue. But that's what it is. The people are bringing sacrifices. The priests are killing them, skinning them, gutting them, quartering the meat, seasoning it, throwing it on the altar. The smoke is going up. The Lord is receiving the offering. The people are celebrating. Then once the meat's cooked, it gets taken off the altar and then divvied up among the people, and now we're all eating. Everybody understands? Keep reading. This is 2 Chronicles 7 and 8. Also at the same time, Solomon kept the feast 7 days, and all Israel with him, a very great congregation from the entering in of Hamath unto the river of Egypt. And in the 8th day they made a solemn assembly, for they kept the dedication of the altar 7 days, and the feast 7 days. Sounds like what we're doing now. HaChaaNaKaH was a rededication, mirrored off of the original dedication that occurred during the days of Solomon. Where did Solomon get it from? Solomon got it from Moses when we had the tabernacle built in the wilderness. Everybody understands? Let's keep reading. 2 Chronicles 7 and 10. And on the 23rd day of the 7th month, he sent the people away into their tents, glad and merry in heart, for the goodness that the Lord had showed unto David and to Solomon and to Israel his people. Thus Solomon finished the house of the Lord and the king's house, and all that came into Solomon's heart to make in the house of the Lord, and in his own house he prosperously affected. Meaning what? He grew prosperously after this. The Lord blessed Solomon's hands with everything he did because of this great work he had done in building a temple for the Most High. Everybody understands? Verse 12, and the Lord appeared to Solomon by night and said unto him, I have heard thy prayer and have chosen this place to myself for a house of sacrifice. If I shut up heaven that there be no rain, or if I command the locusts to devour the land, or if I send pestilence among my people, if my people which are called by my name shall humble themselves and pray and seek my face and turn from their wicked ways, then will I hear from heaven and will forgive their sin and will heal their land. Now mine eyes shall be open and my ears attent unto the prayer that is made in this place. For now have I chosen and sanctified this house, that my name may be there forever. And mine eyes and mine heart shall be there perpetually. And as for thee, if thou wilt walk before me as David thy father walked, and do according to all that I have commanded thee, and shall observe my statutes and my judgments, then will I establish the throne of thy kingdom, according as I have covenanted with David thy father, saying, there shall not fail thee a man to be ruler in Israel. But if you turn away and forsake my statutes and my commandments, which I have set before you, and shall go and serve other gods and worship them, then will I pluck them up by the roots out of my land which I have given them, and this house which I have sanctified for my name will I cast out of my sight, and will make it to be a proverb and a byword among the nations. And this house which is high shall be an astonishment to everyone that passes by it, so that he shall say, why has the Lord done thus unto this land and unto this house? And it shall be answered, because they forsook the Lord God of their fathers, which brought them forth out of the land of Egypt, and laid hold on other gods and worshipped them and served them. Therefore hath he brought all this evil upon them. And this is that's the state of the kingdom of Solomon to this day. In the day that it was built, the kingdom of Solomon was an amazing architectural feat, and it is an amazing testament to a people's love of their God. All of the vessels and the giant candlestick and all of the gold ornaments, there was no other temple like that on the planet. And the fall of Israel and the fall of Jerusalem and the plundering of that temple and the destruction of that great uh, ethnic monument is world famous. Even today, the so-called Jew mocks the children of Israel by praying at one of the walls that's left standing of Solomon's temple. They call it the Wailing Wall. You understand? That is done to fulfill the prophecy of the Lord that all nations would look at this house and say, what did these people do to their God to cause for this land and for this house to be destroyed in this way? You go look in the Middle East and all that fighting and all that warfare that's going on. That warfare is happening on a land that is cursed. All that blood that's being shed and that blood that's running in the ground right now, it's running on a land that the Lord said he would destroy if the people he chose for that land did not obey him. And there will always be fighting and bloodshed and chaos in that land, because the land belongs to a people that can only heal it if they obey the Lord and turn back to him. And because we have not obeyed the Lord and turned back to him, that land is going to continue to be in turmoil. That land is always going to be a valley of death and destruction and warfare and evil, because the people who were meant to inhabit it turn their back on the Lord. Now, if we come back to the Most High and obey him, he said that in acknowledging Solomon's dedication of the temple, the Lord said that if his people would turn from their evil ways and seek his face and pray towards that place, he would hear their prayers and he would forgive them, and he would, redeem them. That's why today in the ISUPK we pray towards the Temple of Solomon. If you're here in the Western Hemisphere, the Temple of Solomon is to the east. That's why in the ISUPK, when we send up prayers, we turn and we face the east, because we're facing the house that Solomon built for the Lord, and the Lord said that he would bless us if we prayed to him in that house. And the same way the Lord will hear our prayers if we turn to him and obey him, we have continued to be destroyed and separated from the Most High because of our disobedience. Everybody understands? All right, so we could drop that. That was the dedication of the temple of Solomon during the days of Solomon. And so the rededication of the temple was done in honor of what it is that Solomon did in dedicating the temple to the Lord. Everybody understands? Now we're going to go to the book of Ezra. All right, the book of Ezra. And we're going to get, hold on. All right, we're going to read Ezra chapter 6. We're going to start at verse 1. Ezra chapter 6, verse 1. Um, we're going to start at Ezra 6 and 1. We're going to read on down. All right, we're going to go down to about verse 17. All right, Ezra 1, 20. All right, and here in the book of Ezra is the first read. Come on, bro. I didn't. Come on, man. This damn spell check is the first rededication. All right. The first rededication of Solomon's temple occurred during the days of Ezra. All right. The days of Ezra was roughly 300s BC during the days of the Persian reign and empire, the Persian Empire ruling and reigning on the earth. All right. So this is Ezra chapter 6, verse 1. It says, Then Darius the king made a decree, and search was made in the house of the rolls where the treasures were laid up in Babylon. And there was found at Achmetha in the palace that is in the province of the Medes a roll, and therein was a record thus written. In the first year of Cyrus the king, the same Cyrus the king made a decree concerning the house of God at Jerusalem. Let the house be builded, the place where they offered sacrifices, and let the foundations thereof be strongly laid, the height thereof 80 cubits, and the breadth thereof 80 cubits, with 3 rows of great stones, and a row of new timber, and let the expenses be given out of the king's house. And also let the golden and silver vessels of the house of God, which Nebuchadnezzar took forth out of the temple which is at Jerusalem, and brought unto Babylon, be restored and brought again unto the temple which is at Jerusalem, every one to his place, and place them in the house of God. Now therefore Tatnai, governor beyond the river, Shathar Boznai, and your companions, the Aparshites, which are beyond the river, be ye far from thence. Let the work of this house of God alone. Let the governor of the Jews and the elders of the Jews build this house of God in his place. Moreover, I make a decree that what ye shall do to the elders of these Jews for the building of this house of God, that the king's goods, even of the tribute beyond the river, forthwith expenses be given unto these men, that they be not hindered, and that which they have need of, both young bullocks and rams and lambs, for the burnt offerings of the God of heaven, wheat, salt, wine, and oil, according to the appointment of the priests which are at Jerusalem, let it be given them day by day without fail, that they may offer sacrifices of sweet savors unto the God of heaven, and pray for the life of the king and of his sons. Also, I have made a decree that whosoever shall alter this word, let timber be pulled down from his house, and being set up, let him be hanged thereon, and let his house be made a dunghill for this. And the God that have caused his name to dwell there, destroy all kings and people that shall put to their hand to alter and to destroy this house of God, which is at Jerusalem. I, Darius, have made a decree. Let it be done with speed. Everybody understands? This was the Lord, that same sign from heaven when Moses No, when Solomon dedicated the house of God, came down, fire from heaven and burnt the offering, that's what this decree was like. During the days of Ezra, after we came out of the Babylonian captivity, after the day, when Daniel was set up as a prophet, Ezekiel was set up as a prophet, Jeremiah was set up as a prophet, coming out of those days of Israel being destroyed and Jerusalem being taken captive by the Babylonians, the Persians and the Medes rose to power. And upon them rising to power, the Lord began to show favor unto us because we endured the captivity of Babylon. We went through the punishment that the Lord saw fit for us for the evil that we had done. And this time now was like the Lord relighting that altar with fire from heaven by causing this heathen king to give charge for us to be able to build our temple again on his dime, on his money. Everybody understands. And so because this was decreed, let's read on. It's Ezra 6 and 13. Then Tatnai, the governor on this side the river, Shethar, Buznai, and their companions, according to that which Darius the king had sent, so they did speedily. And the elders of the Jews builded, and they prospered through the prophesying of Haggai the prophet and Zechariah the son of Iddo. And they builded and finished it, according to the commandment of the God of Israel, and according to the commandment of Cyrus and Darius and Artaxerxes, king of Persia. And this house was finished on the third day of the month of Dar, which is in the 6th year of the reign of Darius the king. And the children of Israel, the priests and the Levites, and the rest of the children of the captivity kept the dedication of this house of God with joy, and offered at the dedication of this house of God 100 bullocks, 200 rams, 400 lambs, and for a sin offering for all Israel, 12 he goats according to the number of the tribes of Israel. And they set the priests in their divisions and the Levites in their courses for the service of God, which is at Jerusalem, as it is written in the book of Moses. And the children of the captivity kept the Passover upon the 14th day of the first month. For the priests and the Levites were purified together, all of them were pure, and killed the Passover for all the children of the captivity, and for their brethren, the priests, and for themselves. And the children of Israel, which were come again out of captivity, and all such as had separated themselves unto them from the filthiness of the heathen of the land, to seek the Lord God of Israel, did eat, and kept the feast of unleavened bread 7 days with joy. And the Lord had made them joyful, and turned the heart of the king of Assyria unto them, to strengthen their hands in the work of the house of God, the God of Israel. Everybody understands? So again, the first rededication of the temple occurred during the days of the Passover. They finished the temple, they builded it up. The Lord had blessed their hands. Israel prospered in coming back to the Most High, and they kept the feast for 7 days to rededicate that temple back to the Most High. Everybody understands? And that leads us finally to the celebration of HaChaaNaKaH, which occurred, of course, during the days of the Maccabees. And it was the rededication of Solomon's temple back to the Most High was done in honor of, was done in honor of the initial dedication to of the temple to the Most High that was done during the days of Moses and the days of Solomon and the days of Ezra. Everybody understands? Let's go ahead and get boo boopity boo. Okay. Um, let's get First Maccabees chapter 4. Let's get. Hold on. All right, this is First Maccabees chapter 4. We're gonna start at verse 35. All right. First Maccabees chapter 4, verse 35. We're going to read down to the end of the chapter, all right? All right. Now, when Lysias saw his army put to flight, and the manliness of Judah's soldiers, and how they were ready either to live or die valiantly, he went into Antiochia and gathered together a company of strangers, and having made his army greater than it was, he purposed to come again into Judea. Then said Judas and his brethren, behold, our enemies are discomfited. Let us go up to cleanse and dedicate the sanctuary. Upon this, all the hosts assembled themselves together and went up into Mount Zion. And when they saw the sanctuary desolate, and the altar profaned, and the gates burned up, and shrubs growing in the courts as in a forest, or in one of the mountains, yea, and the priest's chambers pulled down, they rent their clothes and made lamentation, and cast ashes upon their heads, and fell down flat to the ground upon their faces, and blew an alarm with the trumpets, and cried toward heaven. Then Judas appointed certain men to fight against those that were in the fortress until he had cleansed the sanctuary. So he chose priests of blameless conversation, such as had pleasure in the law, who cleansed the sanctuary and bare out the defiled stones into an unclean place. And when as they consulted what to do with the altar of burnt offerings, which was profaned, they thought it best to pull it down, lest it should be a reproach to them because the heathen had defiled it. Wherefore they pulled it down and laid up the stones in the mountain of the temple in a convenient place until there should come a prophet to show what should be done with them. Then they took whole stones according to the law and built a new altar according to the former, and made up the sanctuary and the things that were within the temple and hollowed the courts. They made also new holy vessels, and into the temple they brought the candlestick and the altar of burnt offerings and of incense and the table. And upon the altar they burnt incense, and the lamps that were upon the candlestick they lighted, that they might give light in the temple. Furthermore, they sat the loaves upon the table and spread out the veils and finished all the works which they had begun to make. Now on the 25th day of the 9th month, which is called the month Casliu, in the 148th year, they rose up betimes in the morning and offered sacrifice according to the law upon the new altar of burnt offerings which they had made. Look at what time and what day the heathen had profaned it, even in that it was dedicated with songs and citherns and harps and cymbals. Meaning what? There was music. They celebrated the heathen being kicked out of this place. Everybody understands. Then all the people fell upon their faces, worshiping and praising the God of heaven who had given them good success. And so they kept the dedication of the altar 8 days and offered burnt offerings with gladness and sacrificed the sacrifice of deliverance and praise. They decked also the forefront of the temple with crowns of gold and with shields, and the gates and the chambers they renewed and hanged doors upon them. Thus was there very great gladness among the people, for the reproach of the heathen was put away. Moreover, Judas and his brethren with the whole congregation of Israel ordained that the days of the dedication of the altar should be kept in their season from year to year by the space of 8 days from the 25th day of the month Casliu with mirth and gladness. At that time also they builded up the Mount Zion with high walls and strong towers round about, lest the Gentiles should come and tread it down as they had done before. And they set there a garrison to keep it, and fortified Bethsura to preserve it, that the people might have a defense against Idumea. And so that there is the history of all of the dedication ceremonies of Solomon's of temples to the Most High throughout the history of Israel. This dedication that we celebrate today is one of many where the Lord gave Israel a sign and a comfort for them to know that he was with them. And for all you brothers and sisters and all of the different Israelite school of UPK classrooms across the country with the homes where you all are gathered, I pray that tonight you will eat, you will drink, you will celebrate, you will remember the wondrous great things the Lord has done for us and acknowledge that we are living in one of those times again. To have the knowledge and the understanding that we are the people of this book, that we are the people who the Lord chose, that we are the people who the Lord has given his favor and his blessings is not a small thing in 2023. So to have access to this knowledge and this information, to know the truth of who you are and where you come from, and to be able to celebrate the times that the Lord has been merciful and glorious and preserving of our people. It is a great uh, it's a great amazing thing. So let's celebrate tonight, y'all. Let's eat, let's drink, man. Let's thank the Most High. Let's remember our brothers and sisters from the past. Pray the Most High will bless us, man, and bless our hands and bless our work, that we can raise this nation up and once again prove to him that we are the children that are deserving of his deliverance, deserving of his mercy, deserving of his blessings and his peace. And let's prepare ourselves to come out of this captivity in America, man. With that, with the Israelite School of Universal Practical Knowledge under Commanding General Yohana out of 1 West 125th Street in Harlem, New York. Since 1969, we've been teaching so-called blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indians the truth according to the Bible. What is the truth? The truth is that so-called blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indians descend from the greatest people that have ever walked the face of the earth. The Bible identifies us as the lost 12 tribes of the nation of Israel. And in the year 2023, there's nothing more important than for God's chosen people to learn the truth of who we are, where we come from, and what our purpose is. So with that, I'll see y'all again for class. Sometime, I don't know if I'm going to do class tomorrow or if it'll be Saturday. But we're gonna have another class where I'm gonna go more into the history of this celebration of HaChaaNaKaH, and let's grow stronger in this truth, Israel. With that, shalom.